Hey guys, it's Birdie and welcome back to my channel. This is Clown Cows. Today, I thought that we could talk about Amberlynn Reid and why all of her relationships have failed. Why is she always the outcast? It seems to me that from her personal friendships, intimate relationships, familial connections, and even her relationships with medical professionals, Amber's attitude always seems to ruin her, and she ends up left behind, physically or emotionally evicted or otherwise removed from people's lives. But how did this come to be? From simple observations of Amber's behaviors within her relationships, it appears that Amber is very Amber-sided. The relationship is all about her wants and her needs, which in turn means that the wants and needs of her partners go unseen, unheard, and unrespected. Think about when she and Beck went on that vacation and Amber just wanted to stay in the room ordering food, only venturing out to ride in that cart at Target or to go to restaurants. Amber's very clearly ruled by her food addiction. That same addiction which she refuses to get a hold of has also been an element that has destroyed her ex-partner's lives and ultimately ruined all of Amber's relationships. I think Amber's food addiction has been one of her greatest destroyers. She has been known to become violent over wanting junk food, and she's well known to mistreat her girlfriends if they don't enable her every craving, regardless of the time of day and despite the partner not wanting to drive to pick up more food, or the partner feeling sick and being truly unable to safely go on another hourly food run. Amber allows food to be her god. She follows it, she worships it, she bows down to it, and she'll sacrifice anyone or anything that stands in her way of it. Amber's failed relationships are related to that food addiction, in part because of Amber's selfish and sometimes violent behaviors, but also due to entitlement that goes beyond the addiction. Think about it. Amber feels entitled to junk food because she's always used it as a non-effective coping mechanism to deal with her past traumas. So, within Amber's world, it's her medicine in a sense. She deserves it. She has earned it. It calms her down for the 2 minutes until she's devoured it, so it's hers to have freely as she wants. Amber sees herself as being very special. She's always been entitled and non-appreciative. She feels owed the world, anything that she wants in it. And so there's no appreciation whatsoever, because in her mind it was owed to her. This even goes back to her childhood if we really look at it. Amber has spoken endlessly about the various foster homes that she was in before misbehaving, being violent, even stealing food to binge on, and then being sent to one group home and then off to another, all because Amber won't follow the rules. She doesn't have to. She's entitled to behave however she wants because her childhood was rough. Amber acts like she's feral. She won't even follow simple societal expectations. She refuses to do it because Amber feels entitled to do and behave how she pleases.
It is what it is.
She talks about her past foster families as if they tortured her all the way to Disneyland. But I've never heard her say, my foster families kept me off the streets, or my foster parents wanted me when my own parents didn't, or my foster parents gave me a chance that, based on my previous behaviors, I did not deserve, but for them I am so grateful. She's never said any of that. Instead, she has accused those families of creating additional trauma for her. I wonder if them buying her 2 seats on the plane because she was too fat to fit in one seat so she could go visit Mommy Dearest was one of those traumas that the Fosters created. Or If the roof over her head on the cold, stormy nights was another trauma that poor dainty Amber endured. Perhaps Amber also suffered the trauma of having a family that not only took her in, but also took in one of her brothers so that she would not be separated from her sibling. Wow, talk about horrid treatment. Amber may have had a foster parent who wasn't in it for the right reasons, but for the vast majority, it seems that they all just simply wanted to give a child a chance. Amber didn't care, though. You know how she acts like she and Christine are best friends? Where was Mommy when the grandmother threw Amber out on her ass? This would have been approximately 16 years ago. The grandmother threw 18-year-old Amber out of the home due to, guess what? Awful behaviors, being disrespectful, and shocker, Amber being unappreciative. Amber ruins every relationship she has because she really does feel entitled to that person's care, their admiration, their forgiveness, their driving services, their housework, the holiday decorating, the added responsibilities of Amber's pets that she does not need, the late night ER runs because Amber's too good to see a doctor during normal business hours, and to anything else that Amber decides she wants. But how did a neglected child grow up to be such a selfish, entitled bitch? Let's Google it. I searched, "Can child neglect lead to entitlement issues as an adult?" And here's what the AI overview has to say. It's safe to presume that the neglect Amber endured from her parents had a lasting effect on her. And Amber did develop entitlement problems, presumably due to that neglect. But it didn't have to have the stronghold that it has had. So, why has it? Amber could have gotten therapy. She has told us so many times that she eats for emotional comfort, that her parents were awful and they had chosen drugs over her. This means that Amber knows that her emotional dysregulations and other mental health issues likely stem from those unresolved childhood traumas. But unresolved just means that Amber's choosing not to resolve them. Instead of getting therapy, she gets a family-sized meal. Instead of getting the help that she has admitted to needing and allegedly scheduling, she decides not to go. This could easily lead us to believe one of two things. Number one, Amber doesn't want help because help means giving up her addiction and admitting to her own faults. And two, Amber's ego and fantasy world that she lives in tells her that she doesn't need help because her problems are not her own, but they were caused by the world. Amber's well known for shifting blame. I think it's part of her narcissistic tendencies and entitlement problems. You see, for Amber, she thinks that she's not responsible for fixing anything that others have caused. If we look at her life, we have the evidence that we need to reach that conclusion. Just listen to that again. Amber does not feel responsible for resolving any problems that she blames others for creating. She blames her medical issues and failed dreams or accomplishments on her weight. She blames her weight on past unresolved trauma. She blames the trauma on her parents. She blames her mental health issues, her personality flaws, and her failed relationships on what she calls her haters, because she says that it's the critics who make her feel insane. So she deflects the blame onto us. Girls, it's our fault that she's a horrible person. It's our fault that she's a failure. And it's our fault that she has to lie about some of her secret relationships with married women or her feeder girlfriend. It's our fault. Not because it actually is, of course, but because if Amber can blame us or anyone other than herself, then she's not required within her own mind to fix it. She can keep doing whatever the fuck she wants to do, and the responsibility to change falls on us, or her lazy doctors, or her abusive partners, or her uptight roommates, or her deadbeat and enabling parents. It's not her fault that she's fat. It's the diet's fault, because she lies and says that she's supposed to eat a high-fat diet for this ailment, but a healthy diet for the other. It's the fault of her dog for being old even when she wasn't and needing pee pads. And it's her cat's fault for being dead due to exploring too hard. It's always everyone else's fault that Amber fails at life and that her relationships fail to last. Nothing is, has ever been, or will ever be Amber's fault. Entitlement says so, and if that's not enough for you, her ego and narcissism are going to be there to back it up. When Amber's last days are lived, I think it would be appropriate to have her headstone engraved on the front with the words, "Not my fault." And on the back it can read, "I'm still better than you." I think that would pretty much sum up how Amber feels about herself and the world. Amber's entitlement goes back her entire life. And maybe in a way, at least during parts of her life, she did feel like she had to demand certain things like attention or love or care. Maybe she didn't feel heard. Maybe she didn't feel needed, and maybe she didn't feel loved. But instead of growing up and fixing her own problems so that she could earn those things, so that she could be the person that she demands others be for her, she decided to sit on her fat ass and point her fat finger, making demands at other people to take care of her hand and foot. Amber's life will never be more than a tragedy. She's a grossly unattractive, uneducated liar who weighs 600 pounds, is constantly sick with something, who has no friends, no love, and no life. I do feel so sorry for her pets, though. Unlike Amber, they deserve so much better. In my way of looking at it, Amber deserves the life she's living. I have to give credit where credit is due, though, even when it comes to Amber. And at the end of the day, she is proof of a few things. That entitlement and narcissism can stem from unresolved childhood neglect. And that, unlike Amber, karma is alive and well. What do you girls think? Did Amber's entitlement issues come from her childhood neglect? Is it because she never got treatment for that neglect? She never worked through it. She never resolved those feelings of inadequacy or being inferior when she was young, so she demands to feel superior now. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Do you have another idea of where Amber's entitlement and narcissism may have stemmed from if you don't think it had anything to do with trauma? Let me know what you think. As always, these are only my thoughts, views, and opinions. I'm an expert in absolutely nothing. If you have any questions, ask an expert. This is for entertainment purposes only. These are just my views, ideas, and opinions based on a public figure who made their content public. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't, subscribe if you want to. Leave me a comment below, and I can't wait to hear what all of you think about Amber and her failed relationships due to her entitlement, her food addiction, and her narcissism. Let me know. I'll talk to you girls later. Bye, guys.